Welcome back. Great to have you with us tonight as we take a look at the world of crime and justice. And there are a lot of stories we need to get to. But let's talk about what's happening in the world right now, right? We're all sheltering at home. People are scared. People are frightful. There are people that are isolated, people that need help. When you add all that together, it creates another opportunity for scam artists, for fraudsters. Julie Grant takes a closer look tonight at some of these COVID scammers and what we can do to protect ourselves.
The Federal Trade Commission has logged over 14,000 scam complaints, more than $10 million in losses. People desperate to protect themselves and their families are being duped by ads claiming products like teas or essential oils can prevent or even cure coronavirus. Right now, there are no FDA-approved treatments, preventatives, or cures for COVID-19, nor are there any approved at-home test kits or vaccines for sale.
If consumers have a home test kit that hasn't been approved by the FDA and is not likely to work properly, they may not get reliable results and they may unknowingly expose others to this virus.
So when it comes to your health, don't buy into the hype.
And when you're looking on the internet, depending upon what you key in to the search engine, if you were to key in COVID-19 cure, you will get that search engine to come up to tell you immediately, no cure, there is no cure. The issues come along as to when people start to play with the wording. And with that, you're prone now to start getting into areas and scammers that'll be out there waiting for that person that's, in a sense, just not thinking about what it is they're really searching.
Federal and state officials are already cracking down on price gouging schemes, especially when it comes to in-demand items like cleaning supplies and paper products. But online shoppers beware. If a price looks too good to be true, it probably is, especially when it comes to third-party sellers.
You don't want to be giving secondary information to a third party. So if you're making a purchase, let's think you're buying a shirt. You would probably pay with PayPal or a credit card or some other kind of known service that you have used before. And they don't ask you to go off into some separate areas. And so with that, what you should do is take away any time that they're trying to push you into another area. You got to get very suspicious about what's going on and probably terminate that communication as quick as you can. Don't give any additional information on yourself. It's just not a smart thing.
While millions of Americans are working out the kinks when it comes to working from home, millions more are filing for unemployment. Roughly 1 in 10 American workers have lost their jobs in the past 3 weeks due to coronavirus. This according to a new jobs report released today. As financially strapped Americans wait for federal emergency stimulus payments, fraudsters are preparing to cash in on your check. According to the FTC website, checks will start arriving in the mail in May at the earliest for those who do not have direct deposit already set up with the IRS. Remember, the IRS will never call, text, or email about setting up direct deposit. But experts warn scammers have another way to get their hands on your money.
Either emails or on the internet, as to where you'll have somebody say that they would advance you the funds. So you anticipate that for your payroll, you might be able to get $50,000. Someone says, I'll advance you $20,000. I'll charge you a fee of 3-4%. And then all you need to do is give them your vital information. That's problematic.
And while elderly Americans are most at risk for contracting COVID-19, experts say they're also at increased risk of being taken advantage of by con artists.
At times like this, sometimes I'll just call them scummers versus scammers. But they will play into the minds of seniors, if it's at all possible.
Bottom line, everyone needs to be on guard.
Scammers have no issues on who they victimize. They don't care. So they're happy to take money from a 25-year-old or a 65-year-old, an 85-year-old. It just depends who it is that's going to click on that link.
That's what they do. Take advantage of people when they're the most vulnerable. Let's bring Julie Grant in. And Julie, the one thing that really sticks out to me is the world we're living in now. We have extra time. A lot of people spending more time online, more time on social media, and you just get bombarded left and right with all of this information and these things. And I can see how people can fall for this very easily.
Yeah, you make a great point, Vinny. It's easy to get overwhelmed, and then we kind of lose our sensibilities sometimes, right? It's easy when you're overwhelmed, you're distracted, you're nervous, you're upset, and then we're not thinking clearly, right? And we don't want to lose our common sense. That's really the bottom line with this. I loved how the fraud expert that I interviewed with this piece, Andrew Richards, he is the best. And he was calling these people scummers rather than scammers, because that is what they really are. They're preying on that fear, that vulnerability. And so we really want to keep our antenna up right now and hearken upon our common sense.
And you know, people feeling vulnerable, but there's also people that want to help and they want to do as much as they can. And I know you asked him about charitable donations. Let's take a listen.
If you want to make a difference and you want to make a donation to a charity, you can't just take it off of something you got on the internet. And if you see something, for instance, on your local news, and there's a charity, and they talk about, this charity does take donations, then you can have a confidence that that TV station would have vetted that organization before they would have said that. So you could feel comfortable in donating to them, but follow the instructions that they tell you for the donations.
That's the other thing, Julie. You can play at people's heartstrings, because I know people that, can want to do as much as they can for others.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, now that's what we're talking about, right? We're staying safe and trying to help other people. And so, couple tips that Andrew Richards had. One is go with well-known, reputable organizations. Right now is not the time to pluck some organization out of obscurity just because you saw something on the internet and think, oh, maybe this is a cause I want to help. No, go with the ones that are reputable and independently verify all the information. Double check what you're seeing online with what you see. And yes, the phone book. Phone books still exist. Use them. You can verify things more ways than one. Talking to other friends who've donated. Something else, if you're solicited, by a phone call, by email, big red flag. Delete the email, hang up the phone. Don't play into any of that. And again, the news organizations, right? You don't have to look far for places to help. They may be highlighted on your local news right now, as he said.
Absolutely. Another area you asked him about, and this is hurting a lot of folks who have small businesses that are very vulnerable now, right, as well. Let's take a listen to that part.
My decades of looking at fraud, and what I see is when money is good, when it's flowing, then we have that level of money that we can make either investments from, get bonuses from, buy extra products with. So the eye on the money isn't quite as close because things are good. There's no reason to really look at it. But when times are tough, you need every penny. And so the thing is that as the money level starts to lower and you have less resources, what will happen unfortunately for many companies, is that if they had somebody in the company that has been stealing from them, embezzling from them, this is unfortunately the time as to when they will discover this. So as that level lowers, if they have entrusted someone, usually CFO, controller, whoever, has access to the money, they need to be very watchful of what is going on with the money at that time, because to continue to cover up an embezzlement takes maneuvering of the funds. When the funds aren't there, you can't really maneuver. And so as an owner, you really need to be aware that this is a time when you've got to take a very close eye on your books. For businesses, especially small businesses, you need to double your effort for reviewing your financial records at this time, and make sure that it's not just business getting bad, and to be sure that someone inside is not doing you additional harm.
Now that's an angle I would not have thought of, but it makes sense, right? The money's shrinking.
Right.
Now someone who may be taking money from you is going to be exposed.
Exactly, Vinny. When money is good and everything is fine, nobody is looking that closely. And I would have never thought of that either. That's why we wanted to talk to Andrew Richards, because he is a fraud expert, and you'll like this. I mean, he's really just the man. I mean, he owns a business called Fraud Investigative Service. He's a retired federal agent, a professor. He's a professor. He's qualified in federal court and state court to testify as an expert on fraud. And you know what he's really busy doing right now? Embezzlement investigations. That's what he told me. He's working from home and mostly doing that. So that, besides talking with Court TV, because he's about folks protecting themselves. So yeah, it's a good lesson for all of us. Even if we don't own a business, look over our records, look at our bank records, make sure everything is intact, because now we need every penny. Now we're in a much different financial situation. The financial situation is part of the global pandemic that we're facing with COVID-19. So it makes a lot of sense to review everything.
Yeah, and unfortunately, folks have a lot of time to do that. And Julie Grant, great information tonight. Thank you so much.